Joined by Republican Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, who is also stepping off the Senate floor to join us right now as part of this process. It's great to see you, Senator. Welcome back to Bloomberg TV and radio.
Great to be here.
Give us the state of play. It looks like we're going to be in for hours of this, potentially overnight into tomorrow morning.
I think you're right. It's going to be a very long night. Could well go into tomorrow morning. But at the end of the day, what we're going to do is prevent the largest tax increase that Americans have ever seen. This is a tax relief that Americans need. We're talking about a $4+ trillion tax increase that would be the case if it were allowed to not pass. If you think about it, it's a generational investment in our national defense. It's going to put us back on the path for energy independence as a nation. And most important, it's going to stimulate longer-term capital investment, which will beget growth. That growth will beget more employment. More employment will beget more economic activity, which means we're going to have higher tax revenues for the government as a result.
We've been talking about this for months and months, even longer than that probably, when it was just a concept on the campaign trail. Now here we are with all of these ideas together. What do you say to the Tom Tillises and the Elon Musks of the world who say, no, Senator, this is a debt bomb and we're doing more harm than good?
Well, I don't agree with their willingness to rely on authorities. I'm putting air quotes around that, like the Congressional Budget Office.
Okay.
The CBO missed the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act's revenue result by more than $1 trillion. As a business person, I've been a business person my entire life. The type of capital investment that we're going to stimulate over the long term is definitely going to generate much more economic activity. And I think the models are wrong. I do not agree with the approach that has been taken that suggests this is going to be a big deficit bomb. In fact, I think it's going to be a growth generator that's going to put our deficit back on the curve in the right direction to reduce the deficit.
I'll tell you, if we find out the CBO was this wrong, seems like we should be rethinking the way that process works.
I am more than ready to do that, Joe. It's been quite frustrating to see numbers that just as a logical person, as a business person, clearly you say that there's no way these calculations are right. What they leave out, what they don't include, the over-reliance on tax revenue, so to speak, when you know that companies and individual behaviors will change if taxes go up. The model does not work.
Well, if CBO turned out to be correct on this, along with a lot of economists who tell us that this is going to create $4 trillion in debt, would you support another reconciliation bill or another way to get to this? A deficit-cutting blue ribbon panel. I hate to be too cute, Senator, but how do we finally get to this issue?
Oh, I certainly support another one of these, these packages. We'll have an opportunity to do it again and again. If you think about the work that was undertaken by Elon Musk and the team at Doge, that's continuing. Every department head, every agency head has been charged with figuring out how to reduce the dramatic burden of regulations that was imposed just in the last administration. And to quantify that, over the past 4 years of Joe Biden's administration, that was an additional $1.4 trillion of compliance costs that were added to the U.S. economy. As that comes out, as these conflicting regulations, these burdensome, sclerotic regulations come out of the system, I expect to see that those funds, instead of going toward compliance, fall to the bottom line and get reinvested in the economy. Again, all very pro-growth.
You talk about unleashing energy. There's an effort here to slow down the ending of some green energy tax credits, and it seems to have the support, based on what we've learned here just since we've been up here this afternoon, of Democrats and Republicans, and in this case for solar and wind, to more align with the beginning of projects starting as opposed to their completion. Would you support that?
You're right. There's bipartisan support for that. However, Leader Thune is trying to thread a very difficult needle in terms of navigating through the Senate with 50+1 votes and having something that will work in the House of Representatives. So make no mistake, the leadership at the House of Representatives and here in the Senate have been working very closely together to make certain that we do thread that needle, that we're able to turn something over to the House of Representatives that convenes tomorrow at noon to set up the rules so that they can move this through the House and we can get it to the President's desk and get it signed by the 4th of July.
There's another effort to increase funding for rural hospitals in states like yours and all over the country here, but to pay for it with a new tax on people who make more than $25 million a year. Should that be law?
I'm very familiar with that effort as well. I don't think we're going to get there either.
No new millionaire tax.
There's not going to be a new tax, but I think that we're very concerned about rural hospitals, and we're looking for ways to address that right now.
Just not that way.
I don't think that's the way to get there.
Okay. You talked about this Rules Committee meeting. That's on the House side tomorrow morning or tomorrow at noon.
That's right, Joe.
You need to get a lot done between now and then. How does this work tonight? Do you have a pre dawn vote? What do you expect?
It easily could go that way. I've been here voting all the way through the night and into the next morning, but we will vote as long as it takes to get here. There's no time limit on this.
Right.
It really has to do with how long the Democrats want to continue to fight to put up their resistance movement again. They keep offering the same type of challenge over and over and over again. It's certainly dragging out the clock. I think what they want to do is get to prime time tonight. I've got to believe that their interest will wane after prime time hours.
So when the lights go out,
so we'll see how
maybe
long
a vote takes place.
I hope so.
What takes place in an office like yours on a night like this? Are you bringing in takeout? Are you guys hanging out on the floor? How do you get through an evening in the Senate?
So a large group of us will get together tonight. I think that Senator Cotton has been the one that's going to get to float this and foot the bill for it. But we're going to have Chinese brought in tonight, and we're just going to keep cranking through this.
Excellent. Well, I'm really glad you could spend some time with us
in
the middle of this process.
Thanks
Senator.
for coming here to the Capitol to see it.
We thought it was worth coming here to see this firsthand and talk with you. And we appreciate that. Republican Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, we thank you so much. It looks like